Welcome to a special edition of the Realest podcast. And thank you everyone who's listening right now. Sorry, I got sidetracked. We had a lot of technical difficulties and issues on both ends here. Um, First off, welcome to the UFC 200 show. This isn't a regular show that we do. We're based on video games and wrestling, but I figured, not we, that let's do something different and go into the UFC and talk some UFC. I have Justice Smith along with me. He's going to be talking a lot of UFC, what he liked, what he disliked, and so on and so forth. So, Justin, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, and I'm happy to be on the show. Thank you, and I hope you can hear me fine.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Um, you know, First off, let's just get it out of the way. What would you rate this pay per view?
Oh my goodness, I definitely put it up there as one of my favorites personally.
Really?
I don't know, I don't like putting numbers on things because I think that's just a kind of generic way to do it.
Right.
But I definitely put this in like the top five.
Yeah, I could understand that. I've been watching the UFC. I know you've been watching the UFC a lot hardcore more like you're more of a hardcore fan than I am.
Oh man, I watch the UFC, Pride, WEC, Lion Fight Promotion,
Right.
Rising Fight Federation, stuff you probably never even heard of.
I stopped watching the UFC. The fight I stopped watching, of course, is the fight that Ronda Rousey actually loses. So
Yeah, that
it's just my luck.
Yeah, that was insane. I remember, hearing about that. I thought it was a hoax and everything. Didn't believe it was true because I didn't actually get to see that live.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I took a nap and I woke up and I see Twitter blowing up. I was like, wait, did this actually happen? And then there came the vines of her getting kicked and her head hitting the mat. I was like, yeah, it did.
you see, and I know this, isn't related to the event or whatever, but I just want to get this off my chest because that's a thing that really bothers me, especially about her losing. People don't understand the torment that she went through after that happened. She had thoughts of suicide. She had all kinds of, it was a really big deal for her. And
Right.
I'm not trying to be a spoil sport or anything. I have a morose, dark sense of humor, but you gotta feel for the woman.
Yeah, I feel for her, but I mean, I don't want to say she had it coming because she got really cocky, and we were having this discussion before. She should not have went into boxing against Holly Holm.
No, absolutely not. Her striking, I mean, you look at Holly Holm, multiple time, world kickboxing champion, and Ronda, a great judoka, Olympic. Oh, that's all great. That's grappling. That's not kickboxing. And you don't kickbox a kickboxer. You didn't see Brock Lesnar trying to kickbox with Mark Hunt, did you?
No, that's a. And speaking of, let's get right into that one. A lot of people are unhappy with Brock Lesnar winning. A lot of people are saying different things. Um, here's my thought and here's my opinion. I'll let you go in. Brock Lesnar is a national champion from Minnesota in wrestling. So very technical wrestling. The guy is a national champion. So why go ground? Why wouldn't you go ground game when you're a champion at grappling and wrestling?
I don't see that's the thing. I don't see why people are being so critical of Brock Lesnar because even when he was in UFC, excuse me, that's what he did. He was a wrestler. He took it to the ground, and that's how he won fights. He's always been a ground fighter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every fight he's won has been on the ground, and every one he's lost has been standing up.
Yeah, it's not to say that Brock's not good in the stand-up, but where Brock Lesnar shines is on the ground. Where he killed, like, remember what he did to Frank Mir's face, UFC 100?
Yeah.
My goodness.
I mean, Mark Hunt. It just seemed like he didn't know what to do. This you see round two, it really seemed like Mark Hunt was going to be on the going to be able to pull something out because round by round, I thought Brock won 1 and 3. I thought Mark Hunt won 2 because of his defensive game because Brock couldn't get anything going and Mark wasn't letting Hunt wasn't allowing him to get anything going. But um, but Brock without a doubt won round one. I thought he we were going to see a knockout with round one, and then round three, it just there were certain points I was like, oh, this might get stopped, and then it went
Uh,
into decision.
Yeah, I'm surprised it went to the distance. I didn't think it would because Brock, he's not. You know, that doesn't happen. Brock doesn't go the distance. He finishes or he gets finished.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's very true.
what people aren't talking about is Mark Hunt didn't get knocked out by Brock Lesnar. Okay, and you got somebody like Brock Lesnar on top of you, hammering down those toasters that he calls fists, and he doesn't get knocked out. I think Mark Hunt needs credit for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Hunt still he left that fight with a half decent, pretty face. I mean, it wasn't it
And
wasn't anything crazy.
talking about fighting somebody like Brock Lesnar, who's a freak of nature, and then actually having to step into that octagon and fight Brock Lesnar, that's got to be a big shock as well. Even if you are a world class kickboxer, Mark Hunt's never fought anybody that is arguably not human.
Well, yeah, I mean, the guy was just a month or two ago. He's wrestling with the WWE. Next month, he'll be wrestling with the WWE, and that's another great question. I'm going to ask it to you because you asked it to me, so I'm going to steal your question here. Um, where do we see Brock Lesnar come back to the octagon?
Man, that's a very difficult question. He definitely did not look like the dominant Brock Lesnar that we're used to seeing that's finishing guys, but he didn't look like no punk either. Neither guy did. And I don't know if, I think because, Brock Lesnar, he got $2.5 million for this fight. He's the highest paid fighter, ever in UFC history. So I'm sure if the money's right, Brock will come out and, no doubt, go after him.
Right.
And I want to see Brock come back because it's Brock Lesnar. You don't, you hear people say, oh, this is once in a lifetime kind of athlete. This is once and ever kind of athlete, Brock Lesnar. There's never going to be another Brock Lesnar. Like there's never going to be another Muhammad Ali. Like there's never going to be another Usain Bolt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. With Brock, he's got to wrestle Randy Orton next month at SummerSlam, so he's gonna have some time to heal and recover from all this, after fight stuff that you go through.
Because he got tagged a few good times by Hunt. Hunt, he put up a fight. He did.
His left eye, it looked swollen up. It really did.
Uh-huh.
So Lesnar is about to have to go back to WWE, have Paul Heyman do the promos for him, and him just do an F5 or two to someone or just destroy something. So it'll be interesting to see what Lesnar will do. But I don't know. For a guy that didn't have the full camp and full training that most fighters get, because this was more, I wouldn't say last minute. I mean, this was what, a month, 2, 3 weeks
It
of
was announced.
preparation.
It was announced UFC 199 that Brock
That's
was coming.
right. And when was that? 2, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'd have to look at my phone. I can't remember the exact date. It
So
was last month, though. It was last month.
yeah, so they had only what, a couple of weeks before then, or a week or two before. So he got a good month of training, and you could tell he was getting kind of fatigued, and you could tell he was, wouldn't say out of shape, but he wasn't octagon.
He definitely had a little bit of octagon rust on him. You could hear him heavily breathing at the end of the fight whenever Rogan was interviewing him. But you got to keep in mind, UFC 200, big deal, So they were probably talking to Brock back in UFC 189 whenever the Reebok deal came out. Don't get me started on that, or we'll be here all night.
Well, I'll be straight honest, man. Dana White, I'll give him some props because with all of the stuff that happened and everything with McGregor and Diaz pulling out, and then now who else was after that? Who was after that was going to main event? Because there was like what, three pullouts,
It was
three.
gonna, originally, yeah, it was supposed to be McGregor and Diaz, which Dana White 86 that whenever Connor would show up to a media day because he was training in Iceland. And then it was going to be Jones versus Cormier 2
Yeah,
for
and
the
then
eight.
Jones.
Would have made it, the most amazing card. And that's not, obviously it's hyperbole, but that would have made it an even more incredible card than what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Jones, and then Jones getting caught doping. Which what is your take on that? You think Jones should be just done? Do you think they should just not let him fight again?
John Jones, it's a hard question because You want the guy to succeed. You know, this guy is arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time. You watch him fight, he's incredible. And he's given so many opportunities, but then he just throws them away. And that's so frustrating. And I kind of got to side with Dana White here, where he doesn't want to hear anything from Jones. And with Jones facing a possible 2 year suspension, you know, I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist or anything, like trying to sensationalize anything, but this could very easily be a career killer for John Jones.
Well, this is the third time in what, just over a year that John Jones has been caught doing something.
I believe it's the second time.
I know he got caught with marijuana, but I could have sworn I saw another one somewhere else.
Cocaine.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the what, third time now doping.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm not sure about the marijuana. I'd have to look that up. But I remember the cocaine and him hitting a pregnant woman. I thought it was under the influence in his car, which is
Yeah, and that I felt bad for Cormier because I know these two hate each other, and I know Cormier was has been training, but as soon as White announced Silva, I was like, my immediate thought was, holy shit.
mm-hmm.
But and then came into the thoughts, the guy didn't train for this fight and anything, and we saw that result today.
uh, he took it on 2 days' notice, which is mental in and of itself. And you watch. There's on YouTube. You can go on the UFC's YouTube page to UFC Embedded, and it actually shows Dana White giving Daniel Cormier the news, and he just breaks down and starts crying. Because what people don't realize, these guys, this is their job. This is how they feed their kids. This is how they support their families. And it was very possible that he could have missed out on a massive payday. So props to Anderson for taking the fight on such short notice and showing us why he really is the greatest of all time, regardless of whatever happened.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he went the distance is amazing, but a lot of people are unhappy with that fight because of how Cormier fights. And I mean, I don't want to say I was one of them, but I've seen Cormier fight before, so I kind of was expecting him just to basically lay on top of him and do small things. That's where Cormier shines is in the wrestle game. And Anderson Silva, you get him just standing up, Silva will, he'll end it quickly.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's one of the big things. I'm so divided on this fight in particular because if it were me and I was DC going in there fighting Anderson Silva, I would have done the exact same thing. I'm not going to try to stand up with Anderson Silva because I'm stupid. But I can also see where the other argument is that they should have put on a great show for the fans because both really had nothing to lose, honestly.
Right. I mean, that's kind of where I was gonna, throw it was there really isn't a point of them, doing what they have done, and that's Cormier playing it safe and not really doing anything. I didn't agree with that at all. I honestly thought that we should have seen Cormier do more of standing up. I mean, he kind of was like, okay, 1 minute left, I'll stand up and I'll actually do something. And then Cormier was, I mean, give Anderson Silva maybe 30 more seconds to a minute. That fight might be over.
Oh yeah, at the end there, he caught Daniel Cormier with a good body kick that really, it woke Daniel up a little bit. And if they would have stood and banged, I really, really got to think that Anderson Silva would have pulled the upset.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Um, I just, it's back to the point where Cormier really had nothing to lose, and
Not at all.
I
But
mean, I guess you could say pride, but that's still kind of like eh.
you're going up against arguably I'm not even going to say arguably, you're going up against the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. If your pride is that much to you that you can't risk taking a W to him, then what are you even doing? I understand being a fighter, I understand being a man, I understand you have your own legacy, but come on, it's Anderson Silva.
Yeah,
The man has done so much in the sport. He's been such a dominant champion.
yeah,
He's shown time and time again why he is, and always will be, in my mind, the greatest of all time.
I 100% agree. I don't get why Cormier wanted to go into this and play it as safe as he did. I mean,
Well, nobody
so
goes to fight to lose, though. Yeah.
well, yeah, but I mean, you're if if that was me, I would have put something up for the fans. You know, I wouldn't have just immediately went to the ground and did what he did. I mean, I guess you could play the whole "Will I beat Anderson Silva?" But 2 days. I mean, that's and then here comes that. Oh, it was only on 2 days rest. But I mean, you could throw the argument of Cormier was nervous that if he was a loss, that the title could be on the line if Silva really wanted to pursue it. But then there's the counter argument that Dana White gave Silva the opportunity to go for the title. He wanted him to go for the title, and Silva wouldn't take it, which I don't blame him.
I think Silva's just ready to retire, you know?
Well, the last fight he had against Nick Diaz, not Nate, um, he said, "I don't know where this is going to lead me, or what's going to happen after this. My kids are saying to retire, 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 retire. You don't need to go do this." And you know, and what he's made maybe one appearance in the octagon since then.
Well, his fight with Nick Diaz, yeah, that was a win that was actually overturned after he was caught with something, some illegal substance. But I believe the last time he fought was against Michael Bisping, and he actually lost a 5 round decision to him, which that's going to be covered in controversy because for some reason nobody in the middleweight division likes Michael Bisping, and a lot of people thought Anderson Silva was robbed in that fight. But for my money, I think Michael Bisping. People don't understand that mixed martial arts is not, you know, the violent brutality it used to be back in the NHB days. It's a sport, and there's rules, and there's scoring, and stuff like that.
Right. Here's a big question, and this one has to do with rules. We're going to go to the main event. Tate versus Nunez, or Nunes, or Nunez, whatever they're wanting to call her. I heard three different names throughout that pay per view.
I
Um,
believe Nunez is the proper pronunciation.
yeah, I know. But Nunez almost hit an illegal knee. So what if she hits that knee? Do they stop the
Yeah,
fight?
I actually brought that up whenever we were watching it. I thought, that looked a little low. It looked like Misha's hand was down on the ground, and as you know, under unified rules, you can't do that. Because technically that counts that they're on the ground. So, yeah, if she would have landed an illegal knee, Herb Dean knows what he's doing. He's a great referee. I think he probably would have. I don't know if he would have given her a warning or deducted a point, but it probably would have given Misha Tate a little bit of time to recover, or it might have damaged her to a point where she would have been finished anyway. So that's a hard thing to say.
Yeah, that was a minute before she got finished and
Um,
was destroyed. But I mean, that's a big. I wouldn't say controversy, but that's going to leave a big question mark. Is what if she hits that knee? Because if it hits, it's hitting her in the temple. So that's a potential knockout.
uh-huh. Oh yeah, you could definitely knock somebody out with a knee. Watch any Pride Fighting Championship fight.
Yeah. So obviously we see Nunez go out, win the fight, and you know, dude, I honestly think Tate was out. I think it was just muscle memory at that point defending herself, because if you saw when she tapped out, she got back on top of Nunez getting ready to, or yeah, Nunez getting ready to fight her.
Yeah, she didn't look right before it went to the ground. She looked like she was something needed to be done.
I mean, she's moving very slow. She was cloudy, but
I'm seeing here about the Nick Diaz fight because he did beat Nick Diaz at UFC 183. Or yes, Nick Diaz, but it was overturned due to the doping allegation at UFC Fight Night 84. He lost a decision to Michael Bisping.
yeah.
Again, shrouded in controversy.
Well, I know Nick Diaz thought that he won that fight, because I remember that
Yeah,
was his big argument on the after. But I mean, I don't want to make it seem like it's rigged or anything, but it was kind of like Silva wasn't going to lose that fight unless he was getting dominated or he was knocked out, in a sense.
yeah, it's one of those close ones. It's really hard to call,
Yeah,
but
it really is.
I don't see again the harm in. I think Anderson Silva, after watching the fight, I think he performed a little bit better as a mixed martial artist than what Nick Diaz had done, and I think the same thing about Michael Bisping after watching that fight. Though Silva had dropped Bisping because Silva he's a fight finisher, Bisping not so much. I still think Bisping deserved the win that he got, and I think that he showed himself to be the best mixed martial artist that night.
Yeah, so I have the stats up for the title fight between Nunes and Tate. So total strikes, Nunes had 40 strikes and Tate only had 3. Significant strikes, Tate had 3, Nunes had 40. So that really says a lot.
And yeah, did you watch the fight? I mean,
Yeah,
Nunez,
I watched.
she lived up to her name, the Lioness, man. She tore it up. And she was an underdog, too, but she came out, for blood. She wanted that belt, and she got it.
Yeah, I mean we also can't forget about the first fights of the night between Cain Velasquez and Travis Brown, which that fight ended in the first round because of a knockout. What did you think of that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I loved it. I didn't think Cain Velasquez would be able to pull it out, just for a variety of reasons. Because I thought Travis Brown was going to keep it standing. I also thought that he was going to use his reach advantage, better because he was a bigger fighter. He only had about 2 inches of reach, I believe, but a good stand-up fighter could use that. But yeah, I'm absolutely amazed that Cain Velasquez was able to pull it out, and he's showing again why he's number 2 in the ranking. So watch out, Stipe.
All right, and then we also have Josie Aldo and Edgar. I was surprised.
Fight, fight of the night.
I mean this is because I'm a Brock Lesnar fan, but yeah, I can see it. Yeah, fight of the night. Aldo had he was on his game tonight. Everything he was doing was on point. The counters, he was countering everything Edgar threw at him, and I mean it showed. He won the fight.
He looked like vintage Jose Aldo out there. He looked like the Jose Aldo that dominated that division. You look back at what happened with him fighting Conor McGregor at 194, UFC 194, I believe it was, and he got knocked out 13 seconds. Yeah, because Conor McGregor is one of those guys. He's going to get in your head. He's going to piss you off, and he's going to get you off your game. And he made Jose Aldo charge at him, which is not something Jose Aldo does, and he got caught. Jose Aldo is much more of a patient fighter. He doesn't, he's not overly aggressive. He picks his shots. He's accurate, and he looked like vintage Aldo out there tonight.
I mean that's what all the women were doing to Ronda Rousey. In a sense, they were going at her, trying to go at her quick, and she would end it quick.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. One of the most dominant females in the sport, Arguably, she opened the doors for all those females, who probably wouldn't even have a shot to be there otherwise without Ronda Rousey opening those doors, because she was a sensation. Still is.
Yeah.
Still will.
Holy cow! I'm looking at the stats between Lesnar and Hunt. Just wow! This was just such a one-sided fight.
Oh, it was a beatdown.
Lesnar had 8 minutes and 1 second of control. He had a total of 137 strikes. He had 51 significant strikes and 4 takedowns. When Hunt had no control, he had 46 strikes, 13 significant, 0 takedowns, and 0 submission attempts. Just wow. One-sided.
I mean, Brock Lesnar is a wrestler, and I'm not a kind of kickboxer. So what do you?
Yeah, I mean,
Lesnar, he came right, man. He did what he meant to do. He looked like, I'm not gonna say he looked like the best of Brock Lesnar, but you could tell he still got it.
And now I look at Cormier and Silva. Cormier
and with a little bit more,
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying that, with a little bit more training, a little bit more time, I think Lesnar could probably return and probably put the heavyweight division at least on notice, if not give them a run for their money.
Speaking of the heavyweight division's mostly, is a stand-up game. It's not like it there's not a lot of ground game. So if Lesnar can really get people on the ground, he could dominate the heavyweight division. But then again, I could be wrong because I really don't watch the heavyweight division.
Well, see, that's the thing with somebody like Fabricio Verdum, who was recently beaten by Stipe Miocic in UFC 198, first round knockout. Stipe kept on the feet. Well, Fabricio Verdum, he's a Brazilian, So you're going to expect there's going to be some Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in there, and he's great at it. He has a victory over the mighty Fedor Emelianenko, which, if you know anything about MMA, he's basically Jesus. So they do have some good ground fighters there. Cain Velasquez, he's known as a great wrestler, a great ground and pound guy like Brock Lesnar. They had two great fights against one another, and I would have, loved to see him come back and fight Brock Lesnar here to finish the trilogy out. That would have been, I think, a better fight than Mark Hunt, but that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, the heavyweight division, they've got some dangerous ground guys, and the champion right now is a dangerous striker. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with him. I haven't seen who he's supposed to fight to defend his title. I don't know if they've announced it yet. I'm going to have to look into that. But yeah, I like Stipe, and yeah.
Matthew 23 Clausen, this is one of our loyal fans to the UFC world, says I missed out on UFC 200 because I didn't want to pay $40, but was it good? Lived up to the expectation, especially for as many dropouts as there were with this card. It was a good card, very good card, or a very good night. I
Yeah,
mean,
this
go
kind of
ahead.
seemed like the review event that would never happen, because you had a big ticket fight like McGregor and Diaz, which everybody wanted to see because McGregor's hilarious and they want to see Diaz beat him, or McGregor's obnoxious and you want to see Diaz beat him. That didn't happen, but then John Jones came and saved it with the DC Jones fight, and
Hmm.
then that didn't happen 2 days out. Then Silva came back, and we got the unexpected treat of seeing Silva fight at this historic event. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of people that are butthurt about the DC Silva fight. You're going to have a lot of people that are butthurt about the Lesnar Cormier fight, or I'm sorry, the Lesnar Hunt fight. So that's really just the biggest hurdle is to get over all the negativity on the butthurt haters out there and MMA fanboys. But I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say because I enjoy different things, and maybe people who watch this aren't going to enjoy it. But for my money and the kind of fan I am, and for all of the stuff I've watched, I thought this was a really decent fight card. Not the best, but definitely up there.
Yeah, I mean this had four potential main event matches or fights in it. I say matches. I'm so used to wrestling now. You had Aldo and Edgar. That's a potential of a nice main event. Cormier Silva. Anything with Silva's name in it is, in my opinion, a main event. Lesnar and Hunt. You throw in a main event because of Lesnar. Then obviously Tate versus Nunez. So I mean, what's I know you've already said this because we're gonna kind of wrap it up. I don't want to stay on too long. It's really really late. What's the fight of the night?
Man, in my mind, man, I'm really tempted to say like Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt because for my money, all my favorite fights and all my favorite fighters are ground fighters. But man, you watch that Aldo Edgar fight, that was tense.
Yeah, it was.
So here's my predictions. I'm gonna say fight of the night, Aldo Edgar. Knockout of the night would be Brown Velasquez, and submission of the night, Nunez Tate.
Now we do have a little tradition here in the Realest podcast world. So instead of saying worst match of the night or worst fight of the night, because it's kind of really pushing it because these guys are working their ass off and women working their ass off to do
Uh-huh.
the best they can. So what we call them is the piss break or bathroom break match, which is basically the match that you can get up and go use the bathroom and come back and you probably really didn't miss anything. Get what I'm getting? Get where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
What match is that, or what fight is that for you?
I'm the biggest MMA fanboy in the world, so that's really tough for me to call. But oh man, I would have to probably say the. Are we talking about the main card or the undercard? Are we talking
let's do main card.
main card? Okay, that's what everybody pays for anyway. Probably Velasquez Brown. I would think would be the piss break.
Yeah, same. Just because of it wasn't a big name fight, even though it was a good fight, it just wasn't. They weren't big names or huge names.
Well, they were big names. Cain Velasquez and Travis Brown are two, incredible heavyweights, but I mean, I don't think it was the main event material that these other four amazing fights were.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on the piss break match. my favorite match of the night will be Brock Lesnar because I was really rooting for Lesnar. I mean, this is the WWE guy coming out of me. You know, I really wanted him to succeed because there was a lot of hate going with him. Oh, he can't do it. You know, he
You got
won't
the
win this fight.
you got the MMA guy agreeing with you on that. I wanted Lesnar to win just to anger all the MMA fanboys. Really,
Yeah, I mean, but it, if I wouldn't have Silva, man, I hate that Cormier played it as safe as he did. I really do.
now I'm
It,
not going to try to demonize Cormier for what he did because, like I said, I'd probably be a hypocrite for it. If I were in DC's position, I would have probably done the exact same thing because one guy you don't want to stand up with is Anderson Silva. Ask Vitor Belfort that.
Ask well, I mean, ask a lot of people that actually.
Well,
but
Vitor is the one that got, I think, the worst of it personally.
I mean, before we do go, do you have any final thoughts or anything you're wanting to say before we go?
No, I just, I think this card was amazing, and I'm really, again, honored to be able to be on your show. And I'm probably going to share it around my Facebook and annoy my friends with it until they watch it. So I'm happy to be here, and it's been a great fight card, and I hope to be able to do this again. And we'll be doing this, UFC 300, 500, 1,000.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me on, and if there's anything else, let me know. If not, have a good night, and be sure to check in on the post-fight press conference.
Yeah, no problem. And to everyone, this was a shorter live stream. It's really late. I mean, where we are, it's 1:43 a.m. So I mean, there's no point in keeping everyone up. We got all the big topics out of the way. Um, But before we do go, be sure to hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're listening to, and also hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss a show. Even though this we are talking UFC, we are a wrestling and video game podcast. So on Monday nights we go live right after Monday Night Raw. Wednesdays we do in game every other Wednesday, excuse me, and then Thursdays is next big thing where we talk NXT. And if you guys do not know what NXT is, it's basically the how can I explain this? It is the minor leagues for the WWE. Saturday is keeping it real, where we talk everything going on in the WWE that week, and hopefully we can do some more UFC shows. Justin, thanks a lot for tuning in, for coming out, giving us your thoughts. And until next time, my name is Blake Carter. Again, joined by Justin Smith. And until next time, peace out.